acts like a big boy when he's talking about anybody else on his podcast. But if his wife comes calling, he a bitch. And it's okay. Some people like to live that way. Just shut the f up about other people's relationships. Don't talk about Will Smith. Nigga, your wife's worse.
No offense to the homeless people, but like, you know when you get on the subway and there's like a homeless person sleeping and like everyone has to get out of that car?
Yeah.
That's what my husband's balls smell like. Oh my God, I hope he's not mad.
Yo, free Akash, man. Free Akash. Keep your wife off the
motherfucking internet. Why does your wife have a microphone in her face?
Akash Singh has been this untouchable comedian. If you sat in the front of a flagrant show, you knew the risk. He'd look at your shoes, he'd look at your girl, and he would tear you apart.
You're married. That's beautiful, dude. I love that. How long you been married? How'd you guys meet? Wow, what kind of doctors are you guys? Ooh, okay. A lot of fingers up asses. Fellas, if you're in your 40s, you're about to have to get your prostate checked. This homosexual is gonna put his fingers up your ass and make sure that your prostate is okay.
He built his entire career on being unfiltered. He spent years roasting other men for being simps and calling people cocks. He acted like he was the only guy who actually had his house in order until something unspeakable happened. You see, for a very long time, Akash had put his wife Jazili on a pedestal so high he couldn't see the massive red flags waving right in his face. He taught his fans she was a traditional, pure, conservative Indian woman who'd saved herself only for him.
My wife also hadn't had any sexual partners, so that helped us connect a lot more.
Let me ask you this:
And
do you believe her?
If you've seen her, then it's hard to believe. Yeah. She was 22, I was 31. There was an age gap. Felt right. It was like, oh, God brought me this person that like we already connected, and like she also isn't having sex.
But then something strange happened. She would publicly describe a very graphic wild past.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. I was popping my pussy and living my best life in these white boy frat houses, and I had a roster of guys that I would rotate through. So it's like, sometimes it like literally hurts my heart.
Same wife, same marriage, but a total disaster. Akash used to act like he had all the answers, even lecturing Myron Gaines on how to treat women.
You guys have established yourselves as role models, from simps to pimps, which is another motto I find kind of corny, but
after seeing this clip, Myron decided it was time for a reality check. Akash Singh tried to lecture me about women years ago with his equally retarded co-host Andrew Schultz, but the next clip proves sometimes these red pillars have some facts, as it's more than disrespectful.
Wait, okay, I have two butthole stories. So one time I met this guy on Tinder. This was before Bumble or Hinge. Like this was like in the OG days of the app. And this guy, and I made the dumb mistake of letting him sleep over, like not really wanting to fucking hook up. And I like woke up in the morning and like my asshole was a little sore.
Oh my God.
And I remembered that I was like trying to finger me in my asshole. I'm like, first of all, we were not on those like terms.
Technically.
Listen, if you get finger blasted, you're done, so.
Can't tell me you a virgin and you was popping pussy in white boy frat houses. That's crazy.
That's quite a paradox. Akash is out here telling everyone how he found a traditional trad wife, while his wife is on her own podcast reminiscing about the roster of guys she rotated through at Drexel University. And watch how fast the alpha mask sleeps when he tries to explain why his wife is bragging about her college body count.
Yeah, let's just get some definition.
Okay.
We're gonna any terms that you might need to know the actual meaning of. Alex is here to break it down.
I thought it was just like dancing, getting dressed up, and maybe that was my mistake.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge that.
Look at this.
Big one.
Yeah, the act of getting dressed up, looking fly as hell, wearing a minimum of 3-inch heels, preferably higher, and dancing your ass off
Urban
into the wee hours of the morning. That was what I was doing.
Yeah, this is white people's definition of it. This is what you learn. Guys, what do you think popping pussy is?
You see?
Joe and Kurt say it's not that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. As a white, I thought popping pussy was just dancing. I thought it was like twerking.
That's what I thought.
And I had a roster of guys that I would rotate through. Roster of guys that I would rotate through. Roster of guys. Roster of guys. Roster of guys.
Well, I knew that that's what you meant.
Yes, that's
right?
what I meant.
But like once the internet makes you a whore,
Yeah.
they're looking at Joe, we're talking.
This is your friend's wife.
that's my wife, yo. That's my wife for the time being. What's going on?
We have a calcium market.
You can clearly see that's the language of a man who doesn't run run his house anymore.
He acts like a big boy when he's talking about anybody else on his podcast. But if his wife comes calling, he a bitch. And it's okay. Some people like to live that way. Just shut the f up about other people's relationships. Don't talk about Will Smith. Nigga, your wife's worse.
Akash's career, at least from the outside, looks like a win. He has a Netflix special, sold out tours, and one of the most recognizable comedy podcasts in the country. But the success comes at a cost. He's on the road 335 days a year, constantly flying city to city, performing at night, recording during the day, and running on very little sleep. He's openly talked about dealing with exhaustion and insomnia just to keep running, and yet, despite all that work, many of his personal conversations, especially about money and security, end up happening publicly.
I work 335 days a year. I'm so blessed to do what I do. This is not a complaint. But when I tell my wife I'm tired, I want her to say, I'm sorry, baby. I understand. That must be exhausting, buying me all these things.
But instead, this is what he has to put up with.
His money is our money, and my money is my money. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street.
At this stage, I might be qualified to say he's a walking, talking ATM because whenever he talks about his life, you notice something strange. He accounts for everything, listing it out, the shows, the travels, the responsibilities, the bills, the lifestyle. Like, where's all the effort going? The more you listen, the more it starts sounding less like a relationship and more like maintenance, like he's the engine that keeps the whole thing running. If he stops moving, everything stalls. And whenever home matters arise, it's like the other party never bothers to know how he's doing. Instead, the conversation drifts into logistics, how the money is handled, what's shared, what isn't, who has access. For her, a man who won't share feels like someone who isn't fully committed, like he's just a liability.
Any man that doesn't want to have a joint bank account or isn't being transparent with his accounts or has separate accounts, that's a fucking red flag. And I will say it again, because I know there's going to be already like incel troll fuckers. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street. His money is our money, and my money is my money.
Every time she sizes him up, the bag comes out as a way of stopping the judgment before it lands.
My wife is objectively gorgeous. Me? Nah. So that's what you gotta do. I gotta work my ass off, and then every time she starts looking at me and she starts assessing my beauty, I just throw a bag at that bitch.
If I have to throw money at my wife just to stop her from finding faults in everything I do, doesn't that make you a pay pig?
He's a pay pig.
They didn't see the ring.
Ain't it crazy how like guys can spend all this money on a girl, buy her watches? He's like buying her like 25K shoes, 10K bags, all this other shit. I'm like, all right, yeah, spend your money. And she still disrespects you every day. Like, how you gonna be a pay pig? How you gonna be this dude just throwing all this cash at the broad? And she still shits on you every day.
But it gets worse. Akash tried to tell a struggle story. He went on the stage and told a moment where they were so broke they had to sleep on hardwood floor. This would make his fans believe Jaslyn was a ride or die.
My wife and I met in 2014. I was not making much money. I was getting $25 a night doing stand-up. I was on MTV shows that paid dog shit money. 34 years old. She's 25 years old. I'm looking at this girl like, man, you could go be with an Indian who's a doctor, like a real Indian. You're a beautiful girl. You have so much ahead of you. Me, I don't know what my life is gonna be. I'm 34, I'm fucking broke. This dream might not ever happen, but I'm too fucking moronic to quit. And I remember thinking in that moment, this is why I haven't shared this with her, because I remember thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to marry this girl because I'm so broken. I'm in such a bad place and it's a dark fucking time in my life. But I know I will never find a girl that loves me this much ever again.
But while he's telling the story on the stage, she's telling a completely different version, pointing out the code flaws, the jacket, and questioning whether she even wanted to be in that relationship.
Then in 2018, like all of the opportunities started to dry up. He was kind of aging out of the MTV bracket and he wasn't really getting any attention from the industry. So he was pretty much losing all his income. And at the same time, I was working a really toxic job with like a toxic manager and like working till 2 a.m. And it just caused a lot of stress on our relationship. I really, wanted to get married and like wanted to move forward. And he was like, I don't even know who I am as a man if I'm not even able to achieve something I poured 15 years into. And like, I don't even know how I'm going to provide for you or our future as a family. And everything came to a head when my mother-in-law came to visit us. And I was being very distant because of everything we were going through. Akash was very stressed. And I think she kind of internalized it like that I was being bitchy towards her or passive aggressive towards her. It was a huge fight between all of us. Basically, basically, Akash did not defend me, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I can be in a relationship with this person anymore.
Akash had made it look like they're just two broke people making it work, sleeping on the floor, sharing a jacket, and doing whatever they had to do. But when she talked about the same, there was no warmth in it. She'd say she was distant, irritated, unsure if she even wanted to stay. While he thought they're building something together, she was already questioning the whole thing and quietly weighing her actions like, that's the definition of gold digger. And she's aware of it.
Do you consider yourself a good gold digger?
Yeah. Because I invested low and waited for it to go high.
You're a gold prospect.
Yeah, that's not a gold digger.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like a, what is that? You're like a hedge fund manager.
Yeah, you're like Akash of Bitcoin.
Exactly.
But it gets worse. When the topic of a prenup came up, she dismissed it like it was the dumbest idea she'd ever heard.
Is it just me, or is the idea of asking a girl to sign a prenup incredibly offensive? And only one way. Like if I asked someone to sign a prenup because I had some like booming business, then I would be like, yeah, can you just sign this prenup because like I don't want to like lose all my money. But then like if a guy asked me to sign a prenup, I would be like, I would call off the wedding. Like I would literally call off the wedding.
When money becomes the main thing keeping a relationship, the tone changes whether you notice it or not. The patience goes, the care goes, even basic respect starts slipping. When someone starts seeing you as provider first, partner second, they stop filtering themselves. They stop worrying about how their words land. There is no instinct to protect you anymore. So the jokes get sharper, the comments get looser, and sooner or later, they start saying things most people wouldn't even say in private, let alone the mic with you sitting right there. And that's exactly where this goes next, fantasizing about his husband's colleague on camera.
I'm actively trying to have an orgy because this couple is so fucking good looking, and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never decline. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband.
No, I kind of love it, but I'm like, us for it? Okay, maybe.
I just know that Nav's dick is like at least 10 inches.
You would only be down for an orgy
or it's thick. It's thick.
Fucking dude, this is embarrassing. This buck teeth fucking. What the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Yo, you need to get your woman in line. She is embarrassing you.
That's another level of disrespect that's hard to process. You have Nav sitting right there as Akash's wife graphically deconstructs his physique, and then there's you there, Akash, with eyes darting around the room.
I do stand up.
Yeah.
If that's my wife, I'm dying inside.
That's your what?
If that's my wife, I'm dying inside.
If you're doing stand up and you claim all the things that you claim, then you're dying inside.
Later, she tried to play the whole thing off like she's just a student of his humor, like we didn't see that coming. It's like she wanted us to believe if she's just doing what he does, then he's literally not being humiliated. He's just a teacher. It gives them both a way to pretend like this is just part of the job.
I think I learned so much of my humor from Akash, not to like justify it, but just to explain like, oh, if I say these absurd things, it's so funny because it's not who I actually am.
Right.
But I kind of forgot that like the internet doesn't know all these multi-dimensions of my personality, so they're just seeing this one thing.
Right.
We can all see those another cover story chooses every time things get uncomfortable. Everything gets labeled a joke. Every insult gets dressed up as comedy. The crowd gets told to relax and laugh along. So let's treat it like a joke for a second. Let's assume she's just playing around. Let's assume none of it is serious. However, her defense is built on the idea that because Akash is a professional comedian, his entire life and dignity is just part of the act. In her mind, the only reason people are calling her art is because of misogyny. She says the public's anger has nothing to do with her behavior and everything to do with hatred for women.
If you're not gonna be a man for fucking women, like if you're gonna say, oh, women should do this for us and we're the prize and blah, 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 at least be a man for yourselves. Whether it's Andrew Tate or these fucking red pill podcast guys, like when they tell you something, when they ask you to jump, you say how high. You're still not a man either way. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you're still a little beta boy doing whatever these men tell you. Why are you mad at us? Why are you mad if me and my husband are cool with each other, if we both make jokes at each other's expense. The difference is my husband will go on stage and say whatever the fuck he wants about me. No one has anything to say. It's like, oh my God, it's so funny, it's so relatable. But then I come on TikTok and I make jokes and now you have a fucking problem? Like, make it make sense. I'm not here for the fucking misogyny.
You look like a fucking bratty loser, and he indulges you every time he fucking bends over backwards to simp for you. And then he's gonna have the audacity to judge anyone else. Like, well, then we're gonna judge you too.
If you want to see how bad things are, you have to watch how they actually move around each other. There's a pattern the fans have started calling the swerve. It's the awkward second where Akash tries to close in and Jocelyn physically flinches. It's the kind of cringe that makes you want to look away because the rejection is so obvious.
Ghislaine Singh, will you be Ghislaine Singh forever again?
Yes! Oh my God!
Take that drinky thing off. That drinky ding.
Did you guys know this? Yes! Oh my God! How big is this?
Big enough for you to shut up every time I tell you.
Thank you so much! What do you
There's multiple videos of her doing similar things where when he goes in for kisses and physical affection, she reels away every single time. Not only did she reject the kiss, she didn't even go in for a proper hug. Like, to me, body language says a lot, and you can see that he's trying to connect with her and that she's rejecting that.
If you watch other clips, you notice that this is a recurring pattern. Every time Akash leans in, Jocelyn retreats. Kinda cringy, right? After her fans and critics started pointing out how cold she seemed, she came up with an explanation for why she couldn't stand being touched.
And I'll also respond to the people saying I don't like my husband because I turned away from a kiss. I've never liked PDA, physical touch. I find it really overstimulating. And so it's something I actually work through with my husband because that's his love language. And I feel like for him, he tries to do physical touch to regulate his emotions, and I find it really dysregulating. So it's something we kind of work through in high stress situations because I get overstimulated when a lot of things are happening.
She claims she's overstimulated and too shy for public affection, but the story falls apart the second she gets behind a microphone on her own podcast. It's hard to believe someone's too sensitive for her when they're giving a play-by-play of the sex life to thousands of strangers.
The orgasm, like from, if your husband is eating you out, fingering you, and has a finger in your butthole, you'll get a trifecta orgasm. It's kind of insane.
The math doesn't just add up. How do you broadcast the most graphic sexual details for clicks, but then claim you're too shy for a forehead kiss? It feels like the overstimulated excuse is just a way to keep Akash at a distance while milking the cash. But if you think this marriage was a mess, wait until you see what happens when a political figure is targeted in broad daylight. Click the next video to see how the murder of Charlie Kirk was used to hide a much darker conspiracy.